So I'm playing Farmville. I mean, not Farmville, Townsville. And they're referencing David Duarte here, harvesting his onions, whatever. And the joke they used to make about that. So they're calling out, ooh, 886. That's part of your social security number. And in the correct order, too. So like 86, that's been a buzz number. And then 886 just like especially buzzworthy. And then 606, they're like, ooh, it's a palindrome. Ooh, and there's 3 6s in it, just like Alan Stewart's license plate. Ooh, and just like in the phone number for the person who impersonated, or the person who actually was Officer Mark McLeod from Austin Police Department Tactical Unit, otherwise known as Special Weapons and Tactical Unit. The very units, the very people that would have access to these types of weapons, or that would have access to people in their social and professional networks that would have access to these weapons. So this is just another one of those things that they do that it just drives me, it's just infuriating and just drives me insane. And again, I'm not saying that I'm paranoid about these numbers. I'm saying this is how they create paranoia and false hope when people with people, and they can do this subliminally too. So when you see these initially, like I went through this internet hunt one time over and over and over again, thinking like, ooh, this link is special. Ooh, this thing needs something. This number, if you plug it into Google search, will pull up something else. And it's like, yeah, it will pull up something else. If you Google almost anything, it will pull something up. It doesn't mean those results are anything special. But anyway, and then my ex-roommate Will Cicadas, he was going through like the internet searches too, and he was writing out license plates as well. And he was thought his roommate was talking behind his back with someone else, and I was like, she's not. So what do they say about this one? We're like 3, 4, 5, and like we can't make much with this one, except for the 3, 4, 5, and that's it. So here I am again in Townsville, and so they said on this one that the 502 is a reference to that file earlier that was like, ooh, 501, 502. Ooh, now the 502 is popping up. Ooh, and look, a palindrome, 292, because I was in jail in 2000, from September 2017 through February of 2018. They brought up palindrome as a thing. You know, like, ooh, palindrome. And they make it, they do it with numbers a lot. They're like, ooh, that's a palindrome. 292 is a palindrome. It's the same forwards and backwards. And like, ooh, 502. Ooh, look at that. And like, they're like, well, this one just looks weird. We can't make much of this kit. We got the 2s, the 3s, the 5s, and the 6s. So we're like, remember in jail how you're like, we were like, there's like a 3 followed by 3 7s or something like that. That was like your whatchamacallit number. And like I mentioned whatchamacallit. I mentioned thingamajig, which was referenced recently on some show. This thingamajig is a candy bar that was a spin-off of whatchamacallit. A lot of people don't know about that. It's a lesser-known candy bar. Like, ooh, you like whatchamacallits. You probably don't remember what thingamajig tastes like. Ooh, 366, and then there's 5. It's 1 down from 6, and there's 2. That's 1 down from 3. There's 2 2s, and there's 2 6s. And if one, like we can't make much out of that one. Ooh, 310, was that the Maryland area code, or was that 301? Ooh, we don't know, but 310, ooh, we referenced that recently. Ooh, and they're like, no, it's 301, and actually 301 was before that, before the last reference to 310. Like, ooh, 744, ooh, there's 2 4s, there's a 3 and then there's 2 4s. Ooh, and then 3 plus 7 is 10. Ooh, and you got 44. And they're like, ooh, and you can do shit like that. Ooh, let me do 69. Ooh, it's got 69 in it. 69, 269, 6969. Ooh, and 41. Ooh, it's 1 down from 42. Ooh, and then there's 8, magic 8 ball. Ooh, the ball with an 8 that was written on it that was left on your patio. Ooh, and then a Robin with the 8 ball shirt. Ooh. Alright, now I got this one. Like, ooh, 330. That was Jennifer's number. Teller number or whatever. Even though she wasn't a teller, she's the vice president along with Randy. Ooh, 330. 330 was her number. Ooh, 365, 165. That's close to Cindy, but it's not really. Cindy was 167. Ooh, I wish 169. Ooh. They've been referencing Jennifer more. Not all day long, but past day, maybe the past day or two. They've been referencing her quite a bit, and they've actually been beaming images into my head of her and of her making an expression that she made once with me in my office. And they even know who it was about. And they already knew that a while ago. So it's like, I don't have the power of premonition. It's like, oh, numbers are going to come up, but it's like, ooh, 330. Ooh, we set that up. Ooh. It's like, I don't give a shit. And once again here immediately, they're like, ooh, 269. We even said 269 earlier when you made a video like 2 videos ago. Ooh, 269. And I mentioned 305. They're like, was 305 one of your hotel numbers? Hotel room numbers? Like, ooh, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I was like, we can't make anything about 305. Ooh, look, 269. That was your extension at work. Remember the cop car had the license plate that ended in 269? Ooh. And 269 was one of your room numbers at the hotel, either Extended Stay America or the next one. Ooh. So now they're going, ooh, 284. They're like, ooh, 184 was Crystal. You were 183 at Capital Credit Union, and Crystal Williams was 184. 284 would have been her number if she ever worked the drive-through, which a part-time employee worked. They reduced to take lunch to that we've already mentioned to you. Ooh, how would we know that? And they're like, ooh, 51. There's another 51 in there. We don't understand what the 3 means, but like, I guess it's just, it has enough magic numbers in it. Like, ooh, or 32, but that's not a magic number. Ooh, but 32 backwards is 23. And then we can just use 84 as the base number for Crystal Williams. Ooh, which we're showing a picture to of, or someone that looks like her. Ooh. So now they're going, ooh, 17. Ooh, that's a really special magic number for us. Ooh. I don't know about 79, but there's 79, 79. Ooh, it's like a palindrome if you like consider the 79 its own number and 79 its own number. Ooh, and there's the 1 too. So you got like, ooh, you got like 3 sevens in there. Didn't you have 3 sevens in your jail number, your booking number? I think you had 3 sevens in there. We could be wrong about that, but we said 3 sevens earlier, Kip. Ooh, what does that mean? We actually said 3 sevens in the video earlier. If you go back to that, you'll see that we said that I didn't have like 3 sevens or something like that, and we probably didn't, but we did. But we didn't, but we did. Just kidding. Ooh, there's 3 sevens in there. Ooh, and then no, it wasn't 19. It was your booking number started with 17, right? Because you were booked in 2017, right? Yeah. So you had like 17, something like that. 17 dash something. Ooh. And they're also like, ooh, 3 sevens is lucky. 3 sevens. Ooh, look, you got that in a jackpot. Ooh, look at that. And then you got 91 is 19 backwards. We don't usually make a special number out of 91, but we've been making it more of a special number, or trying to, but it never really was, like 17 and 71 were. Ooh, but that was also because Kip lived off of 71 when he moved down to the Grove, and we're like, ooh, 71, 17. Ooh, and then like, if you turn them to letters, it's like a IV if the V's turn sideways. It's like the ones at I and the sevens of V turn sideways. Ooh, and it's like, well, didn't we put you, or didn't you pick a thing next to the frisbee thing? And we said, ooh, that was because there was IV drug user there. And then we also said, like, if you looked in the map, the cul-de-sac that was there from the neighborhood nearby looked like a meth pipe on their map. Ooh, and then we said we are gonna plant a meth pipe in your bush, and then a girl, when you came around the corner just a few seconds later, bent down and looked like she was dropping something in your bushes or picking something up. Ooh. Like, ooh, 3 sevens, it's lucky. And then you got leftovers 19 on the left, and then and then 91 on the right. So that's a palindrome too, 1991. Ooh, it's a palindrome if you take away the 3 lucky sevens. So on this one, they're like, ooh, 17 popped up again. Ooh, 317. Ooh, 17. Having fun with the numbers. I've seen some numbers like this earlier, but again, I don't really give a shit. I'm just telling you what they're saying. They're saying 5, 4, 6, and 7, 6, 8. So 5 goes down to 4, 7 goes down to 6, and then 4 goes up 2, and then 6 goes up 2. So it's like a sequence out of order. So it's like instead of 4, 5, 6, it's 5, 4, 6, and instead of 6, 7, 8, it's 7, 6, 8. So I just got a reward for watching a video on here, an ad. The reward was 777, and right before I tried to record the video, it went off. And they're like, ooh, 3 7s. Remember we said 3 7s earlier? Ooh. So there's that. Oh, and then they're like, ooh, 12 13. Ooh, and then 9 8. That's like special, 98. Anyway, I guess let's look at the rest of these. Which one is this one? It's that one. That one. Ooh, 963, 369. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, and there's 1, so 1 3 6 9. Like, ooh. Ooh, 240. Right, 340 was Kenny Weird, Kenneth Weird. Ooh, and Pam was 341, or was she? Ooh, what was Nancy Lunsford? Ooh, and then 409. Ooh, that was your hotel room number at the Candlewood. That's like the second time it's come up like in this game recently. Ooh, and 409 just happened to be the exact number if you rounded to the closest dollar, and of your hotel room each week after taxes had fallen off after a month. Ooh, and then there's also the 409 cleaner. We're like, ooh, 409, ooh, that's very special in Kip's document. Ooh. Ooh, 175. It was 275, but 75 is the base number, so 275 would be David Van Meter's number if he had worked at the drive-thru downtown. That's no longer there at Capital Credit Union. That where they rented one line from Travis County Credit Union, where Wayne Wouters works now, who's 185. It was 7585. Wait for this timer to come up. Send. I have to wait for that send button to light up again. Ooh, can't think of anything special about this one. Ooh. Except we're like 0 plus 3 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. 0 3 6, 630. Ooh. Ooh, 1143. 43 is one number down, one number up from 42. Ooh. Ooh, 4 plus 4 is 8. Ooh, we're kind of doing a stretch here. Ooh. Ooh, 4 times 2 is 8. 9 times 2 is 16. So here are the 4. There's a 1 and a 6 and 16. Ooh. Ooh. When 3 times 2 is 6. Ooh. Ooh. Bullshit. Or 1 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 4 plus 4 is 8. Bullshit. Ooh, 303 is a palindrome. 354, that did the same thing as those other numbers that we were talking about earlier. Where instead of 345, it's 354. Ooh, although in those ones would go down, so it'd be more like 435. This one's like goes in the opposite way. It's 354 instead of 34. So ooh, and 303. That's like, the next one above that would be 404, and like that used to be Halls. Before and then it was 404, and then it was Area 52. Ooh, and Area 51. Ooh. 550, 520, 556. Ooh, there's 2 5s. I can't think of anything special with this one. Ooh. 252 is a palindrome. Ooh. Ooh, 888. Remember that ball that you had with 8 on it? At the Grove? Ooh, and an 8 ball. And then 8 ball. And then the 8 ball shirt that Robin had. Ooh. Ooh, 17. Ooh, 17. Ooh, and then 988. That's part of your social. Oh, I need a bagel for that. Oh, okay. Ooh, remember you had 501 and 502? Now we have 503. Ooh, and you talked about 504 too. So 503 is the missing one. Ooh. Ooh, and then 24 and 34. And then does that number thing again where it's 243. Or I always said it was in the opposite direction now before the last one. And normally it would go like 324. Now it says, now it goes up, it goes to 243. So it's order out of sequence, except the middle number's the highest number instead of the lowest number. Ooh, Kit's not saying this. These are the Gangstalkers saying this through Kit. And then the 2434 thing, the 10, the 10 digits off that we saw in some license plates that we kept pointing out to Kit. Ooh, and 43 is like, one off, like a one-off project at EMDs. Ooh, one off from 42. Ooh, and 24 backward is 42. Ooh, and then 4334, that's a palindrome. Ooh, and then your phone number is 484, and there's a 4, there's a 4, and there's an 8, and there's a 4. And then it's 4247, then there's a 4 and a 2, although we already used that 4, and then 4, and then one off from 8 is 7. Try to make you smile there. We're zapping his face so we can make a smile. This is so much fucking fun. Ooh, 69. Instead of 269, it's 369. Ooh, instead of 69, it's 96. So you get 9669. If you take out the 3s, you get 96 and 69. Ooh, that's a palindrome. It might be an extra special sex act. Or it's 2 people 69ing. Alright, it's one couple 69ing, and it's another couple lying back to back, but like head and foot. So it's like the opposite of a 69. So you're not really doing anything but putting your butt up against the back of the person's head. Ooh, fucking hilarious. Ooh, and that I think that thing said 5-1, 5/1. Ooh, 51. Ooh. Ooh, one off from, remember we did the one off, so A52, 52 is one off from 51. Ooh, like a one off project at EMDs. Ooh. A44, 4 plus 4 is 8. Ooh. Oh, A44A is the rest of it. So, I mean, if you take out the 52, it's just one off from 51. So you have 8448, 484. Ooh. But then there's an extra 8 for the 8 ball. Ooh. Bullshit. Ooh, 17. Ooh, and 3 8s. Remember I had 3 7s? Now you have 3 8s. Ooh, not like a 3 8 socket wrench or whatever. Bumblebee. Ooh, 917. Ooh, 17 is that special number. Ooh, and then 988. But, like, they should have put the 886. That's what they should have done. But you had an 886 earlier. Ooh, it means something. So much fucking fun. So these are the files for the township videos that I'm compiling into one video now. The reason why Wordscapes is showing on the right here, if I don't figure out how to edit it out, I might zoom this in so you don't see it. Not sure if that'll work or not, but I might just zoom in so you can't see the wordscapes. But if you see wordscapes on the right, the reason why that's there is because I can't record my screen with the tools that I have, except unless I use the game recorder. And Township is a full screen like landscape app only, and it's one of those ones that doesn't let you do split screen in it. So I can do game recording in it, but the way that I can record non-game apps in Samsung's thing is I just tried the split screen feature that they have in the Note, and they might have it in the S series, and it actually works as long as I don't click on the left side except for the bubble that I'm moving around right here. I'm kind of surprised that the bubble can come over here, and that is actually records the whole screen. Then we're good. And I do have to actually click the bubble and move it around. It moves it, and like this little thing that you see here, or like hover on my face, that's actually where my S Pen is pointing at. It's actually not touching the screen, but this little feature that it has. Probably should turn that off for these videos, but I like the feature because it shows you where you're going to hit. Now they're going to mention Jared Grubb and about how he talked about the iPhone one time being superior to Android at one point, and I was like, okay, it'll catch up, and like blah blah blah. And they've mentioned that over and over and over again. So this long video is a series of multiple videos that I recorded from early this morning at 4:17 a.m. and up through 7:40 a.m. and then as of now it's 8:16 a.m. when I'm doing this new video, as I'm compiling these videos into one. So I'm looking at the file names, and again, I don't give a shit. And they're like, but I'm just letting you know, like, the incessant talking that they do and the way that they create paranoia and false hope. Some of these files are, and I put them into directories with the timestamps on them so I can find them easier when I go into them. But like, I can't click on them and look at the individual files yet. But these are the timestamps, so they all have the same date. They're all today, but these are the timestamps. So the first one is 4:17 a.m. and 17 milliseconds. So I told you that number 17 is one of their big buzzwords, or the big buzz numbers. 17, because the shit, when they, well, it wasn't when they announced themselves to me, but when I moved to the Grove and they started doing buzzwords and shit, like big buzzwords, or like when they started like doing buzzwords like a motherfucker, or actually before they did it like a motherfucker, they just started it up. It was like 17 was one of the special numbers that they came up with. And then there was also 71, and so it's like a palindrome of that, a reverse of that. And the stupid significances of those was the fact that it was 2017 at the time when I moved to the Grove in February 2016, and that I also, and the 71 was the fact that I moved down off of Manchac, which near 71. So I basically lived near 71 in Manchac. So that was the 71. And then one time I got a Lyft ride from someone, and the guy like was telling me about how, I think it was when I was coming back from the hospital when I had the staph infection or some type of infection, and he was telling me about how he needed to get like 100 people in a week to make like, and I was like surprised at how he had like an Excel spreadsheet and everything. I was like, oh, that's cool that you like are so like, you know, like you're so like you've got it down to a science and everything. And I mentioned Isaac Gaitan, who also drove for Lyft and Uber, or not Uber, but Lyft and Fasten and Fare and Ride Austin, and primarily Lyft though. I told him how like he was like, you know, into the numbers and everything like that, but this guy had it organized like a motherfucker, and he goes, and you're 71. And I was like, oh, and he repeated myself, and he was like, you're 71. And 71 had already been introduced to me as like a special number. I was like, huh. And they had been doing this with rideshare passengers before, where like they would be like, huh. And that was before I knew that they could manipulate other people's speech, or maybe I did and I didn't realize like they were doing it all the time, or they could do it as easily as they could. But but then again, like he couldn't have made that up. But then I was like, huh. And then when I got out of the cab, there was like, I think there was a dime in my seat or a quarter. I can't remember if I wrote that down in my whatever. They gone through a period too where there were like special things, like there were pennies like thrown under the door. And they mentioned Chris Sweet from EMDs, when when I was taken, and I was the first time I was forcibly sedated um, at St. David South without being given any exam at all. The doctor walked in, said hello to the group of cops, and then walked out. Uh, and and then and they forcibly sedated me there. They tied me down and forcibly sedated me there, even though I was acting completely calm. I was sitting there with an excessive number of cops around me after I already passed my psych exam at the psych ER downtown, and the doctor told him I could go back home, and the cop was pissed off about it, and he took me to St. David South, where I was electrocuted the entire ride from downtown to St. David South. I think it's about a 15-minute car ride, and I was screaming and convulsing in the back of the car. I was like, "Put this on YouTube Live! Stop this car!" and everything like that. And he lied to the hospital, and he told them that the psych ER would not admit me because I was high on meth. Um, that I seriously doubt that they do not admit people that are on drugs there. They administer drugs there. They could have forcibly sedated me there if they had wanted to. I got forcibly sedated at St. David's mental health clinic over off of whatchamacallit or whatever I just forgot the name of it. They're blocking it from me right now. And uh, there's no way that is a reason I passed. The doctor was fine with my answers. He said to send uh, he, I didn't hear him tell the cop to send me back to the hotel or back home, but the cop was really pissed off at him, and he lied to the people down south, and he also put some other things uh, in his report. I think they said that like I said something like that I said that infrared beams were that people were using infrared beams to control me, and I was like, I never said anything like that. I was like, uh-uh. Uh, so anyway, uh, what was that special? Because when I got out of the cab, I realized that underneath, and I didn't have any money on me that would have fallen out, but there was like a quarter or a nickel or a dime. It wasn't a nickel, it was a dime or a quarter or both. I can't remember. But they go through these things where they do like not just buzzwords, but they also do like the other special things that they'll like. I guess they're buzzwords still, but they're like instances of things of like, ooh, the pennies happened under the door, and then after that, when I was forcibly sedated there at St. David South, someone was slid 2 or 3 pennies under the door after they gave me the shot, and it hadn't taken effect yet. Although I was having an adverse reaction to it, although the adverse reaction could have been from these people. And then I heard someone speaking French as I was falling asleep. It sounded like people were at a call center or something. I was like, oh my God, are these people like at a call center type of thing or whatever? And like, or they're in some van or something. And there's like other people talking to other people. I saw some other guy, this big fat black guy, being forcibly sedated, I think, or whatever. But he was like having a fit. They want me to say conniption fit in the other room, and it really freaked me out. And I was like, oh my God, what are they doing to people here? Like, oh my God, what the fuck? And I was like, fake ass patient room, because it really wasn't anything but like a little, like it wasn't even a sink or anything. It was like a little tiny square countertop in the corner, and I don't think there were any drawers or anything. There was no sink or anything. And then just like the exam table, and it wasn't like a fancy one. It wasn't. I mean, they did have things to strap down people's arms, but that was it. There wasn't anything in there. There wasn't any like special equipment. There wasn't any like Wells. I want to say Wells Branch or Wells Fargo, but uh, they didn't have that the vitals thing from that company Welch Allen that we did interfaces with, and now they're going to do Willie's voice right now, Willie Crawley's voice, and since he worked on the interface for the with for Welch. So they're playing my dad's voice like a motherfucker, and they're playing "Listen to Your Heart" by Roxette. So yeah, after I was forcibly sedated, there were pennies, 2 or 3, that were slid under the door, I was like, and I picked them up and I put them on the counter. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, they didn't mention Chris Reed at the time, but later they mentioned him because of what he did with Alex Skovsky in the parking lot, where he put like pennies like 2 or 3 days in a row next to Alex's car. He used to park out pretty far in this huge parking lot. Now they're mentioning Wally World on vacation. And Chris had did this little psychology experiment and wanted to see if Alex would pick them up. And he did it like 2 or 3 days in a row. And Alex picked them up because he's a very frugal person. Chris just wanted to have a little fun with that little experiment. And I'm going, we should recruit him. And now, and then when I got out of that car from the hospital, it was a different. It was a couple months later, I think, when I had an infection in my leg, and I had to go 3 times to this hospital. One to get a prescription, and then like it wasn't helping. It was getting worse, and so I went back, and then they cut it open, and it was the worst pain I ever felt in my entire life. I had to bite down on the bill of my cap, and they're mentioning red monkey. It was a red monkey hat. I'm mentioning grommet. It has a grommet in it, and not when the lady cut into me. They do this thing, and I've done this too when I've had a needle inside me or inserted into me. They can do this thing where I don't know exactly what they're doing. It feels like, and this could be exactly what's happening, they are vibrating the metal like a motherfucker to where it doesn't feel like it with your hand, but it feels like it where it's going in. So it feels like it's being vibrated like a sonic toothbrush. And it feels like it's electrified. So when she cut into me, I don't know this for a fact, they weren't doing anything other than vibrating me, but they've done it to me with needles before. And they're making me jitter right now. Sorry that I'm holding down so my screen doesn't go blank. But when she cut into me to go get in there, and like she had this thing where she was like, I have to use this to, like, she was like she was one of like the best doctors of giving the like the most full the fullest explanation possible. She was answering my questions in full, and I was like, I almost like feel bad that I asked you the question because you answered it like so completely and with such great detail. I was like, oh my god. Because she was like, I'll use this to cut you, and then I'm gonna use this to like basically like rip your tissue apart underneath, so we can like suck out the pus and like and then put gauze in there. And I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't have asked you. I should have just had you do it like right away. You probably could have been done by now. But she did inject some anesthetic, but it didn't work as deep as she was going, I guess, and it was just one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And they enhanced it, so I think they made it like a billion times worse, but I could be wrong about that. Could have just been could have hurt just like that, and they were just like fucking with me on the surface, and in my head. But they've done it to me with needles before, and I'm like, I'm like, I think pretty sure they were doing something there, because that feels like what they do with like what they've done before with that. It's like wonderful people. So these oh yeah, when I got a ride back from the hospital that from one of those trips, I was kind of limping on my leg. That's not why I wasn't driving anymore. Because my car wasn't legal, or was I driving? Oh, I was driving. Oh, but then my car I think was at this mechanic guy, this bullshit mechanic, who pawned something and left a pawn receipt on my birthday of 2017, I believe. Maybe it was 18. No, it's 17. I was like, that's another odd coincidence, but they could have manufactured that and like unbeknownst to him. And they're, whoa, you should have taken the pawn receipt and seen what was pawned. Ooh, all these questions that we have answers to. It's like you can spend the rest of your life like just going through and trying to get answers on this shit. If we ever get this, if you ever live that long. And when I got out of the car with that guy that said like, your number is 71, still playing Listen to Your Heart Like a Motherfucker. I think they're playing hard over it. That's what one of them's saying, but I don't know. It's, and they're playing like this radio static, the speaker hiss at the same time, and they're hurting my back like a motherfucker. And they're fucking with other parts of my body. They're making me tremble. Like, ooh, it's not that cold in here, and I'm like my hands like going ooh. I'm not doing that. I don't shake. I don't have Bell's palsy or whatever. Or I think that's for the face. I think it's the face sag thing. Now that I mentioned anything at the time where they made half my dad's face melt on a photo. But when I got out of the car, like there was like a quarter or a dime, I can't remember, in there. And like that was during like a short period of time where they were like, ooh, the pennies, and then like then this and then this. And I think a nickel was the last one that was left. Um, I think they finally did that. Like that was a way late one. But when I saw that, they were like, ooh, dime or quarter, or I can't remember which one it was. I was like, huh. And that was like a double weird thing after the guy was like, you're 71. And I'm like, someone like tell him to put like a quarter or a dime, or did they get his ride and did they orchestrate it? And anyway, they kept making me think that people were in on it. And sometimes they told weird stories, or buzzwords were dropped into the conversation, or they were acting weird. And I'm like, well, these people can make the other person seem like that when they're not even in the know at all. But then again, they do have henchmen as well, such as those two ladies from Red River Family Practice, a practice that I'm banned from now, and they treated me like a terrorist when I never threatened them at all. When they assaulted me and released my medical information, they lied to me, assaulted me, and released my medical information, and illegally, maliciously, criminal acts, all subject to prison time. So like that was the 71 and the 17 thing, and then they were also like, ooh, the 17, that's like an IV. The IV was a buzzword too. They were joking about IV drug users, or IV drug use. They were joking about how the frisbee catcher thing, like frisbee golf or whatever, but there were only two of them, and it's like it was a pretty big complex. They could have put more around the complex, but there were only two near my apartment, and there was a cul-de-sac too from the neighborhood next door that dug into our apartment. And on the map, it looked like a meth pipe, kind of. I didn't even think about it. And they're like, "Ooh, if you turn it to the side, it looks like a meth pipe." And they're like, "Oh, and your apartment's right outside where the frisbee catcher is. That's because you're an IV drug user." And over there at the other end, where the other frisbee is, Pi, she's an IV drug user. There's a girl named Pi there, and they talk about Life of Pi, the movie Pi. And another guy that made Pie did Requiem for a Dream. Wasn't that beautiful? Isn't that the word that I used when I was at Chris's house, when it was still my house also? And Mark was there watching it, I think with his the guy that he was dating. And Chris, I don't think, watched it with us. And then my boyfriend at the time, George Ibarra, was there. Or Jorge Ibarra, but he goes by George, just like George Longoria is a Jorge, but he goes by George as well. And he goes, well, it's really confusing for your blog readers, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, you use that. And they're like, we said that a long time ago. How do we know? We must have been there at the house at the time. Because we were AMDs when you started, because we were the ones that fucked with Ginny Linman. And like we're the reason why she was in a wheelchair. And then she had the silicone implants taken out, even though they weren't leaking, and there was no detection that they were leaking. And she had them taken out, and then she was all of a sudden like healed, and she could walk again. It's like, isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that something that we do? It's like we do something, and then people like do something. Like we give you a migraine, you take a headache, and then we make it go away, even though you know that we're the cause of the migraine. And then like sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And if you don't take the Advil, then we're like, ooh, we're going to keep doing this migraine thing until you take the Advil, even though that's not something that's going to make it go away. But we're going to choose to make it go away if you take the Advil. So that way, if you talk to someone, they'll be like, whoa, so you had this, you had a headache or a migraine, and you took an Advil, and then it went away. But you think it's other people. That's what they do. They do shit like that. It's like... So those are the significance of the numbers and shit, and like 17. Oh, and the IV, like the 1 could be an I, and the 7 is a V turned sideways. Ooh, and VI, Victor, victory, and all this other shit. Victor, Vicente. And like, it was kind of close. It's a VI, Vince. And so, Now they're showing a picture of Vicente. They're flashing a picture of Vicente into my eyes, and they're going through other people too real fast, and then they'll be like, ooh, it's like Law and Order. Like you hate it how like in Law and Order how they do like fingerprint searches, and they show like they showed like the photograph and the fingerprints, and you're like, and you're like the computer wouldn't do that. It wouldn't like go through it visually. It would only do visual for like the results. It would show the results to the people, and like it would just freeze on one, and like or none, and it would just show a list of like 0 or 1 or maybe multiples if there was somehow a multiple match. And I guess like if it was a partial or whatever, blah blah blah. And like it goes like on the screen, like the computer's like, is it the computer's like looking at it while it's like showing it to you, or like is it the person, like as if it does anything to the person? Like that's such a fake like software thing that they do on cop shows that like would never happen in real life. Like it would just search its database. It's like when you do it at Google, it doesn't like flash up everything like a billion web pages to you, like as it's like returning the results. Right before it returns the results. Kind of like those people search pages. When they're like, ooh, searching this database and this database. It's like I don't really know if it takes that long. I guess it takes that long, but I guess because they're searching through, like, I guess they're like, I guess it's like Eastern or TransUnion. I guess they have some. Anyway. It's like it doesn't have to literally like tell you like we're doing this, we're doing this. Like no, you're not. It's like you're just faking that. And so anyway, back to these file names. As my bubble drifts around because I'm scared my screen's gonna die. So 41717. So again, 17, and again, really weird that like 17 milliseconds. And again, I'm not being paranoid. I'm just like they're freaking. They're trying to make you paranoid or giving you false hope. Like ooh 41717. Ooh 1717. Ooh. They're like it's a palindrome if you think of 17 as a whatever. It's like that's like saying like 11 is a palindrome. I'm like, well, it is a palindrome. 11 is a palindrome. It's 1 and 1. So if you took 17 and treated that as it's separate, like its own numbers, if it was like one character, or one number, then like yeah, it's 17 and 17 is about so 2 numbers in a row, and so just going over and over and over again. So but that is kind of weird, 17 is kind of a strange thing. Like, ooh, we have access to your phone, we can read in the files. Like, ooh, no, Samsung is part of the good people, but they're part of the second stupidest group of people in the entire world, or they were advised wrong by the second stupidest group of people in the entire world, and they're doing something on they're doing your software update, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so they're freaking out over that file name, and then the next file was at 5:08 a.m. That one, I don't see anything special with that. See if they can't come up with anything on that. And they're like, ooh, 5:17. Ooh, we made you do a recording in at 5:17 because we're skipping 5:11:30 because there's nothing special about that. They're like, ooh, 1:30, 1:20 was Valerie Joyner, and like Cindy has a story about her, and they're like, ooh, but and like 3:30 was, and then 3:30 was Jennifer. I guess she was at the North Branch when she started or something, or they just chose those numbers for like certain people, whatever, blah, 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 like her and Pam and Kenny, maybe the other Pam, Kip's not sure. So blah, 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 blah. So going through that. They're saying this answer is 342, and she's like, no, she wasn't. And so like my mom's birthday is May 17th, and so they're like, ooh, we did that because we intentionally did something to prompt you to start making a video at 5:17, so that when you look at the file name later, when we called out the file name later, it would be 5:17. You'd be like, ooh, did that remind you of your mom? Ooh, your mom died of cancer. Ooh, cancer was a thing that came up. Ooh, and we might be giving you cancer, aside from you smoking, but we may be giving you cancer from when the X-rays may be bombarding you, or are they X-rays or whatever? No one's been has had these things on them as much as you, Kip, or and hundreds of other people, or thousands of other people. Ooh. 5:19:30. That's anything. I can't think of anything they would think of, and they're probably choosing 100% of the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. 5:20:31. 5:21:30. Like ooh, that one seems kind of weird, right? 5:20:31, and then, oops, sorry, I got my thumb on that. I realized that. We pushed your thumb over. We've been pushing his thumb over. Ooh, we can push his thumb over. We can push things. That's true. So 5:19:30, or no, 5:20. Oh, the 30-40 thing. Oh, 30-40-30. Like, ooh, that's kind of weird. That like that would just happen, and then another 30, and then another 50, and then there's one right in the nose. Uh-oh. And they're like, they think they're rounding them to special numbers, even though like we didn't have any special numbers on the 00s. Like, although 00 was a special number, kid, because that was your number on your fraternity jersey thing that you got for sports or whatever, even though you didn't play much sports there, hardly at all. Like, and it had 00 in the back because you thought that was just kind of cool that they added, like, instead of 0. I'm guessing that you thought that was kind of neat that there was a number that was just 00. And like, ooh, 00. Because that was in the back of your shirt, and it also said, and it had mock on it. Ooh, and I'm gonna go mini with what the Greek girl put in my yearbook. Blah 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 for my calculus class. And they're like, ooh, and Kip didn't say that. We said that. How would we know she was in your calculus class? Ooh, how would we know that? How would we know that Joanne was in your calculus class? Ooh, how did we know it was Joanne? Oh, she signed her name Joanne. How did we know she was in your calculus class? Ooh, ooh. How do we know Mr. Crowley sounds like, what's his face from the Evening News? Dan Rather. Not Dan Rather. Tom Brokaw. Ooh, 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 ooh. That was someone else correcting me, or was that me correcting myself through Kip? On 30, 31. Ooh, and 30. So that's like it. I will say that it is a strange thing to see so many out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 files. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about half of them almost. Or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So over half the files, just over half the files, have milliseconds that like land on like on one of the tens. Like, 30, 40, 30, 30, 50, 0. Like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. And the 1717 thing's kind of weird too. But like, I'm like, I don't give a shit. And then we're coming up on, oh, then the 520, 21, there's 20. Oh, like, there it goes. Well, yeah, because I did them right at one after another, so that's not that strange. Because it's 17, then 19, 20, 21. That's not that strange because I was actually recording them back to back pretty much for some of these. So it's not that strange. But they can make it seem strange, right? Ooh, it seems strange. Ooh. But then like 30, 31, 30, whatever. 22, and they're like, ooh, 22, ooh, we did that. We chose that because April 22nd is your birthday, even though it's 5:22. But we're like, ooh, we missed that. We missed the opportunity, or we tried to do it 4:22 a.m. And I'm like, well, 5:22 came up, and I was like, let's do another one here at 5:22. It's like, oh no, it's just coincidence. Ooh, that's what they do. And then 639, they're like, ooh, multiples of 3. Ooh, that's kind of weird. And it's like, yeah, whatever. And then 789. So that is kind of a strange one. 070809. So that's a very interesting one. So like, yeah. Like, the chances of that happening are like very slim. I mean, again, we're talking with the 09 is in milliseconds, so that's 9/60ths of a millisecond. So I guess that would be 3/20ths. So like, the chances of that, not that that really makes a difference, but yeah. So the chances of that are like 5 or 6%. Is that right? Is that, I think, I don't know. They're the ones doing that. I don't know if and then nothing special about the 741 except it lands on the 00, and then we already talked about the tens. The 30, 40, 30, 30, 50, 0. Like, ooh, add them up. I'm like, I'm not adding them up. But the 789 is kind of a strange one. I mean, that is kind of a very unusual one. This 41717 one is kind of unusual as well. But so anyway, I just wanted to do a thing about the file names. Like, ooh, look at the date though with them. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, you should have done that first. I'm like,